Welcome to Party Street. Today we are going to discuss about Spanish voyages. Portugal had been the main European power interested in pursuing trade routes overseas. Their next-door neighbours, Castile, predecessor of Spain, had been somewhat slower to begin exploring the Atlantic because of the bigger land area it had to reconquer, or the Reconquista, from the Moors. It was not until the late 15th century, following the dynastic union of the crowns of Castile and Aragon and the completion of the Reconquista, that the unified crowns of what would become Spain, although countries still legally existing, emerged and became fully committed to looking for new trade routes and colonies overseas. Columbus had previously failed to convince King John II of Portugal to fund his exploration of a western route, but the new king and queen of the reconquered Spain decided to fund Columbus's expedition in hopes of bypassing Portugal's lock on Africa and the Indian Ocean. King Ferdinand II of Aragon married Queen Isabella I of Castile in 1469, uniting the two largest kingdoms into what would later be the Spanish crown. However, to expand the Spanish Empire and Catholicism in the name of Spanish kings and to assure a better market position in trading, the Queen gave Columbus an annual allowance of 12,000 maravedis and part of the newly conquered lands. Washington Irving's 1828 biography of Columbus popularized the idea that Columbus had difficulty obtaining support for his plan because Europeans thought the earth was flat. In the morning of August 3, 1492, Columbus departed from Carolina Palos de la Frontera. Columbus and his crew embarked on a voyage to find a shorter route to India and the Orient. Land was first sighted at 2 a.m. on October 12, 1492 by a sailor named Rodrigo de Triana, also known as Juan Rodriguez Bermejo, aboard La Pinta. Columbus proceeded to observe the people and their cultural lifestyle. He also explored the northeast coast of Cuba, landing on 28 October 1492, and the northwestern coast of Hispaniola, present-day Haiti, by 5th December 1492. Here, the Santa Maria ran around on Christmas Day, December 25, 1492, and had to be abandoned. Columbus was received by the native Cacique Guacanagari, who gave him permission to leave some of his men behind. Columbus founded the settlement La Navidad, leaving behind 39 men. On 15 January 1493, he set sail for home aboard the Nina. While returning to Spain, the Nina and Pinta encountered the roughest storm of their journey and on the night of 13 February lost contact with each other. Leaving the island of Santa Maria in the Azores on 23rd February, Columbus headed for Castilian Spain, but another storm forced him into Lisbon. He anchored next to the King's Harbor patrol ship on March 4, 1493, where he was told a fleet of 100 caravels had been lost in the storm. astoundingly, both the Nina and the Pinta had been spared. Not finding King John II of Portugal in Lisbon, Columbus wrote a letter to him and waited for the king's reply. After receiving the letter, the king agreed to meet with Columbus in Valle do Paraíso, despite poor relations between Portugal and Castile at that time. Upon learning of Columbus's discoveries, the Portuguese king informed him that he believed the voyage to be in violation of the 1479 Treaty of Alcacoves. After spending more than a week in Portugal, Columbus set sail for Spain. After the voyage, Columbus met with Spanish monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella in Barcelona on 15 March 1493 to report his findings. Before he left Spain on his second voyage, Columbus had been directed by Ferdinand and Isabella to maintain friendly, even loving relations with the natives. He set sail from Cadiz, Spain on September 24, 1493. The fleet for the second voyage was much larger. On November 3, 1493, Christopher Columbus landed on a rugged shore on an island that he named Dominica. On the same day, he landed at Mary Galante, which he named Santa Maria la Galante. After sailing past Les Santos or Todos Santos, he arrived at Guadalupe or Santa Maria de Guadalupe, which he explored between November 4th and November 10, 1493. The exact course of his voyage through the Lesser Antilles is debated, but it seems likely that he turned north, sighting and naming many islands including Santa Maria de Montserrat or Montserrat, Santa Maria la Antigua or Antigua, Santa Maria la Redonda or Saint Martin, and Santa Cruz or Saint Crux. He continued to the Greater Antilles and landed on the island of San Juan Bautista, present-day Puerto Rico, on November 19, 1493. He left Hispaniola on April 24, 1494 and arrived at the island of Juana or Cuba on April 30 and Discovery Bay, Jamaica on May 5th. He explored the south coast of Juana, which he believed to be a peninsula of China rather than an island, and several nearby islands including La Evangelista or the Isle of Youth, before returning to Hispaniola on August 20. After staying for a time on the western end of present-day Haiti, he finally returned to Spain. According to the abstract of Columbus's journal made by Bartolomé de las Casas, the objective of the third voyage was to verify the existence of a continent that King John II of Portugal suggested was located to the southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. On May 30, 1498, Columbus left the port of Sanlúcar, Spain, with a fleet of 6 ships, sending 3 directly to the West Indies while leading the other 3, the Santa Maria de Gua, the Vaquenos, and the Carrillo, to the Portuguese Porto Santo Island, his wife's native homeland. From August 4 through August 12, 1498, he explored the Gulf of Paria, which separates Trinidad from mainland Venezuela. He then explored the mainland of South America, including the Orinoco River. After coming back on March 14, 1502, Columbus started his fourth voyage with 147 men and with strict orders from the king and queen, which instructed him not to stop at Hispaniola but only to search for the westward passage to the Indian Ocean mainland. He sailed to Argila on the Moroccan coast to rescue the Portuguese soldiers who he heard were under siege by the Moors. On June 15, 1502, they landed at Carbet on the island of Martinique or Martinica. Columbus anticipated a hurricane was brewing, so he continued on, hoping to find shelter on Hispaniola. He arrived at Santo Domingo on June 29, 1502, but was denied port, and the new governor refused to listen to his storm prediction. On August 14, 1502, he landed on the mainland of the Americas at Puerto Castile near Trujillo, Honduras. He spent 2 months exploring the coasts of Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica looking for the passage before arriving in Almirante Bay, Panama on October 16, 1502. On September 11, 1504, Christopher Columbus and his son Hernando embarked in a caravel to travel from Hispaniola to Spain. His 3 or 4 expeditions opened new paths to the New World, and America became explored by Europeans later. The success of Columbus' first voyage touched off a series of westward explorations by European seafaring states. These states sought to exploit the New World's riches, build trade networks and colonies, and built the Indian reductions or settlements to relocate, use the labor of, and attempt Christian conversions of the native people. With the age of discovery starting in the 15th century, Europeans explored the world by ocean, searching for particular trade goods, humans to enslave, and trading locations and ports. The most desired trading goods were gold, silver, and spices. Columbus did not reach Asia, but rather found what was to the Europeans a new world, the Americas. This is the end of our today's discussion. Subscribe to this channel, like our video and comment. Listen to our podcast episode. Follow our official Facebook page, Twitter handle and Instagram. For any query, feel free to mail us. For details, see the description.